Here are 5 signs you have a good friend. But before we even get into the 5 signs that you have a good friend, why would you even want to get a good friend in the first place? Like, what's necessary about having a good friend? You probably already heard this. You're the average of the 5 people you spend time with. And if you have 4 broke friends, you're probably going to be the 5th broke friend. So friendship can be a way for you to determine your future. Literally, the people you hang around, people you spend time with, can determine where you end up in life. So when you have a good friend, if you have 4 good friends, you're probably going to be a good friend, and that goodness can spread out. Now, a Christian will probably tell you Jesus is my friend, and that's great, wonderful. He's our friend, all of us. Now, but if we live in the physical world, we still need that fellowship. Fellowship is very important. You had 12 disciples. You had Paul writing letters to Timothy. Having a human friend is as important as having other relationships in your life that are important. All right, so you probably want to have a good friend, and that's something that's important to you. And maybe you don't even know how to make friends yet. So let me know in the comment section. That's what you want to talk about. 5 signs that you have someone that's a bro, that's a keeper, someone who actually you can consider a friend and that you want to have around for a long time. And also you want to be able to recognize this, because it's possible for you to lose a good friendship and only find out years down the road, like, oh my goodness, this person was such a great friend, and I did not really realize how this was happening. I did not realize how much they were pouring into me, how they were praying for me, how they were supporting me, and now they are gone. Maybe they're actually gone, like gone. Maybe they're dead, or maybe they're no longer available to talk anymore because they have more responsibility. So the window of opportunity that you had where you could actually build that relationship was lost. So you want to recognize that now and pour into that relationship as well, or build it for the longer term. Personally, I've really enjoyed the friendships that I've had for the past decade. People that I met back in college, who were playing video games, listening to music and hanging out. And now we are both working, or some people have kids, some people have lost family. And now the relationship is different, but the friendship has actually supported us throughout the time, right? So let's get right into it. Number 1, I think this is a priority. The first thing you need to keep in mind when you have a good friend is they keep their word. What does this mean? A friend will tell you what they will do, and then they'll do it. They keep their promises. When they tell you I will show up at X time, they show up at that time. When they tell you I'm going to be there, I'm going to show up for you, they show up for you. So having somebody in your life who you might not be sure was a friend, but who keeps doing what they said they were going to do, that is a very strong indicator that they're a good person, and in that way, a good friend. Don't mistake their promptness for fear. They could actually be somebody who actually values your time, and that's somebody that's worth investing in. Number 2, they can anticipate your answers / reaction. And a bonus to that I would say is that they know your sense of humor. They know your sense of humor, which is usually because you have a shared value system. What does this mean in practice? Do you have a friend, somebody in your life who knows exactly the memes that you enjoy, like you both enjoy, and they share those memes and you share memes with them? Like, that's a good indicator that you have a shared sense of values. Now, if you receive some of those memes and you don't feel comfortable, but you just laugh because it's funny and you don't really agree with them, now I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who they would send you a song and you know, and you just like the song. They'll recommend the show and you like the show. They will let you know, hey, you should watch this movie. I think you're going to like it. Why is this important? They know you well enough to be able to predict your taste, to be able to predict what you would enjoy. And that says that they are paying attention. That says that they understand who you are. Now, some people use this and they play tricks with you and manipulate you into liking them. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about people who don't really have anything to gain from you. People who just enjoy your company and want you to have a good time. So when they see a funny video or they see an interesting video, they forward it to you. So not just the forwarded messages that all our parents do, but people who actually send you things that you really enjoy. I do that a lot to people who I don't think they even consider me friends. I just see something funny. I'm like, this person's going to like it, and I send it. There are people in my life, 100 times out of 100 times, okay, 98 times out of 100, when they send me a video, I know I'm in for a good time. And that's a keeper. And the part about anticipating your answers or reactions is very important, as you'll find out later in the next couple of points. Actually, in this point, 3, they tell you things you don't want to hear and stand by it with kindness and empathy. Now, this is the realm of maturity. Like, if you're a teenager, you probably don't understand what I'm talking about here, but the older you get, the more you need people in your life who can tell you the wrong things for you to fix without making it more painful than it has to be. When my sister died, I was very angry, and I talked to one of my friends, and I was so upset. Like, I knew I was upset, he knew I was upset, and I was saying all these terrible things, like things, I was really annoyed. And he told me something. He was like, bro, I'm right here. Like, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially what he said, what he brought me to, what he made me realize at the time was he was present for me. And I was upset that he wasn't present for me at the time. I'm like, but he was right there and he was trying to help. He was trying to give me advice. He was trying to make me calm down and everything, but I was in my feelings. I was upset, but he was able to just let me realize, like, bro, I'm here. And I'm listening to you. I'm trying to help you. I think when you find people in your life who are able to treat you with kindness and empathy on a regular basis, especially when you know you fly off the handle, if you're emotional, if you have, your anger, temper, or anything, and those people are able to point that out in a way that shows that they are not enjoying it necessarily. They are not happy that they have to call you out, but they do it in a firm, kind manner. That is another keeper. That's a good friend that you have. Someone who can tell you, no, you're being lazy right now. You told me last week you were going to do this thing. You didn't do it. What's going on? What is really happening here? I'm going to talk about like parent type figure, like people who actually care and call you out on the things that you don't want to be called out, but they call you out in a way that makes you realize, all right, this person actually just wants to know what's going on in my life and they want to help me. Number 4. This one is interesting, especially for men. They are vulnerable and they allow you to be. This is something that I think I have a natural predilection for. I'm much more open than most of my friends. I'm much more in touch with the way that I feel and the way that I think, which in the past would come out in a very bubbly way, not necessarily happy way. It's more of when I'm upset, you know I'm upset. When I'm excited, you know I'm excited. But over the years, it's changed. Now I know that I'm excited and I express that usually using words. The other part of the flip side is that when something is difficult, I'm having a hard time, I'm able to express that. And what I've found too is that over the years, I've been able to create space for other people to do that. And a good friend, someone who allows you to open yourself up and share those vulnerable moments, is someone you really want to keep around, because we are all going through this life and it can get very difficult. And having people around that you can open up to, people around that you can share your difficulties with, and they can share with you, because it's a give and take. If you have someone who constantly takes and takes and takes and takes and keeps handling it, there's a problem there, because you're probably suffering, and one day they crack, one day they get broken. Now, people usually, you see people who are smiling all the time, and the next thing you hear, they're no longer in this world because they were not able to handle the pressure of life and they had no one to talk to. The whole idea of having someone to talk to is because when you go through the struggles of life, you want to be able to express that to somebody and have that empathic witness, someone who is listening to you and lets you realize you're not crazy. What you're dealing with is hard, and I see you. And that's sometimes all we need. When you have somebody like that, somebody that can allow you to open up to, and they're able to open up with you, that's probably someone you want to actually improve the relationship with. The final one, I think I sort of mentioned it earlier, is they call your bull. They call you out. They call you out when you're lazy. They call you out when you're failing. They call you out when you are not living to the values that you have. For example, a real friend, a real Christian friend will call you out when you're doing behaviors that is not Christian. They will not be afraid to call you out because you can leave the friendship, or you can end, or you can block them, or, like we live in an age now where everybody's canceled. Everybody is like, oh, I mind my energy. I block people. I used to do that. Trust me, I've blocked people. I have still blocked people now, but for different reasons apart from the whole idea of managing energy. But a friend will tell you when what you're doing is wrong. If, for example, you're my friend, and I tell you every day, I want to build my YouTube channel, I want to write my articles, I want to do all this, like, okay, you want to, when are you going to write it? Now that is sounding a little bit condescending, but the idea here I'm trying to say is that they will call you out when they notice a pattern of behavior that is not in line with your values, or where you are not keeping your word. So you see, for example, in the beginning, they keep their word, and there's that expectation that you will keep your word. So a friend, a good friend, will call you out. You are not doing what you say you're going to do. What's up? And they would expect you to make a change, because that relationship will depend on the values. So to recap, a good friend keeps their word. They can anticipate your answers to reaction and your sense of humor. They tell you things you don't want to hear and stand by it with kindness and empathy. They are vulnerable and allow you to be vulnerable as well. And they call you out on what you think they're going to do. That was the video for today. And if you want me to make another video about how to make friends, or any other topic that is related to this idea of friends, let me know in the comment section. Go ahead, leave a comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, that's a good time to do it. I'll see you next time. I'll see you in the next one. God bless you.